You've worked so hard today. The day just flew by, didn't it? Now take a moment to pause and let everything go. Tonight we'll read Judges chapters 11 through 15 together. Listen slowly, comfortably. Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty warrior. His father was Gilead, his mother was a prostitute. Gilead's wife also bore him sons, and when they were grown up, they drove Jephthah out and said, "You are not going to get any inheritance in our family because you are the son of a foreign woman." So Jephthah fled from his brothers and settled in the land of Tob, where a gang of scoundrels gathered around him and went out raiding with him. Sometime later, when the Ammonites made war on Israel, the elders of Gilead went to get Jephthah from the land of Tob. "Come," they said, "be our commander so we can fight the Ammonites." Jephthah said to them, "Didn't you hate me and drive me from my father's house? Why do you come to me now when you're in trouble?" The elders of Gilead said to him, "Nevertheless, we are turning to you. Now come with us to fight the Ammonites, and you will be our head over all who live in Gilead." Jephthah answered, "If you take me back to fight the Ammonites and the Lord gives them to me, will I really be your head?" The elders of Gilead replied, "The Lord is our witness, we will certainly do as you say." So Jephthah went with the elders of Gilead, and the people made him head and commander over them. And Jephthah repeated all his words before the Lord in Mizpah. Then Jephthah sent messengers to the Ammonite king with this question, "What do you have against me that you have attacked my country?" The Ammonite king replied through his messengers, "When Israel came up out of Egypt, they took away my land from the Arnon to the Jabbok, and as far as the Jordan. Now give it back peaceably." Jephthah again sent messengers to the Ammonite king, saying, "This is what Jephthah says, Israel did not take the land of Moab or the land of the Ammonites. But when they came up out of Egypt, Israel went through the wilderness to the Red Sea and on to Kadesh. Then Israel sent messengers to the king of Edom, saying, 'Allow us to pass through your country.' But the king of Edom would not permit it. They even sent to the king of Moab, but he refused. So Israel stayed at Kadesh. Then they traveled through the wilderness, skirted the lands of Edom and Moab, passed along the eastern side of Moab, and camped on the other side of the Arnon. They did not enter Moabite territory because the Arnon was its border. Then Israel sent messengers to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who ruled in Heshbon, and said to him, 'Let us pass through your country to our own place.' But Sihon did not trust Israel to pass through his territory. He mustered all his troops and encamped at Jahaz and fought with Israel. Then the Lord, the God of Israel, gave Sihon and all his army into Israel's hands, and they defeated them. Israel took possession of all the land of the Amorites, who lived in that country. It took possession of all the territory from the Arnon to the Jabbok and from the desert to the Jordan. Now since the Lord, the God of Israel, has driven the Amorites out before his people Israel, what right have you to take it over? Will you not take what your God Chemosh gives you? Likewise, whatever the Lord our God has given us, we will possess. Are you any better than Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab? Did he ever quarrel with Israel or fight with them? For 300 years, Israel occupied Heshbon, Aroer, and its surrounding settlements, and all the towns along the Arnon. Why didn't you retake them during that time? I have not wronged you, but you are doing me wrong by waging war against me. Let the Lord, the judge, decide this dispute today between the Israelites and the Ammonites. The king of Ammon, however, paid no attention to the message Jephthah sent him. Then the Spirit of the Lord came on Jephthah. He crossed Gilead and Manasseh, passed through Mizpah of Gilead, and from there he advanced against the Ammonites. And Jephthah made a vow to the Lord, "If you give the Ammonites into my hands, whatever comes out of the door of my house to meet me when I return in triumph from the Ammonites will be the Lord's, and I will sacrifice it as a burnt offering." Then Jephthah went over to fight the Ammonites, and the Lord gave them into his hands. He defeated them all the way from Aroer to the vicinity of Minnith, 20 towns, and as far as Abel-Keramim. Thus the Ammonites were subdued before the Israelites. When Jephthah returned to his home in Mizpah, there was his daughter coming out to meet him with timbrels and dancing. She was his only child. Except for her, he had neither son nor daughter. When he saw her, he tore his clothes and cried, "Oh no, my daughter, you have brought me down and I am devastated. I have made a vow to the Lord that I cannot break." She said to him, "My father, you have made a vow to the Lord. Do to me whatever you promised. Now that the Lord has avenged you by giving you victory over your enemies, the Ammonites." Then she said to her father, "Allow me this one thing. Give me 2 months to roam the hills and weep with my friends, because I will never marry." "You may go," he said. And he let her go for 2 months. She and her friends went into the hills and wept because she would never marry. After the 2 months, she returned to her father, and he did to her as he had vowed. And she was a virgin. From this comes the Israelite custom, that each year the Israelite women go out for 4 days to commemorate the daughter of Jephthah the Gileadite. The Ephraimites mobilized and crossed over to Zaphon and said to Jephthah, "Why did you go to fight the Ammonites without calling us to go with you? We're going to burn down your house over your head." Jephthah replied, "I and my people were engaged in a great struggle with the Ammonites, and although I called, you did not save me out of their hands. When I saw that you wouldn't help, I took my life in my hands and crossed over to fight the Ammonites, and the Lord gave them into my hands. So why have you come to fight me today?" Jephthah then gathered all the men of Gilead and fought against Ephraim. The Gileadites struck them down because the Ephraimites had said, "You Gileadites are fugitives from Ephraim and Manasseh." The Gileadites captured the fords of the Jordan ahead of the Ephraimites. Whenever an Ephraimite fugitive said, "Let me cross over," the Gileadites asked him, "Are you an Ephraimite?" If he replied, "No," they said, "All right, say Shibboleth." If he said Sibboleth because he could not pronounce the word correctly, they seized him and killed him at the fords of the Jordan. 42,000 Ephraimites were killed at that time. Jephthah led Israel for 6 years. Then Jephthah the Gileadite died and was buried in a town in Gilead. After him, Ibzan of Bethlehem led Israel. He had 30 sons and 30 daughters. He gave his daughters in marriage outside his clan and brought in 30 young women from outside his clan for his sons. Ibzan led Israel for 7 years. Then Ibzan died and was buried in Bethlehem. After him, Elon the Zebulunite led Israel for 10 years. Then Elon died and was buried in Aijalon in the land of Zebulun. After him, Abdon son of Hillel from Pirathon led Israel. He had 40 sons and 30 grandsons, who rode on 70 donkeys. He led Israel for 8 years. Then Abdon son of Hillel died and was buried at Pirathon in Ephraim, in the hill country of the Amalekites. Again, the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord. So the Lord delivered them into the hands of the Philistines for 40 years. A certain man of Zorah, named Manoah, from the clan of the Danites, had a wife who was childless, unable to give birth. The angel of the Lord appeared to her and said, "You are barren and childless, but you are going to become pregnant and give birth to a son. Now see to it that you drink no wine or other fermented drink, and that you do not eat anything unclean. You will become pregnant and have a son whose head is never to be touched by a razor, because the boy is to be a Nazirite, dedicated to God from birth. He will begin the deliverance of Israel from the hands of the Philistines." Then the woman went to her husband and told him, "A man of God came to me. He looked like an angel of God, very awesome. I didn't ask him where he came from, and he didn't tell me his name. But he said to me, 'You will become pregnant and have a son. Now then, drink no wine or other fermented drink, and do not eat anything unclean, because the boy will be a Nazirite of God from the womb until the day of his death.' Then Manoah prayed to the Lord, 'Pardon your servant, Lord. I beg you to send the man of God you sent earlier to us again to teach us how to bring up the boy who is to be born.' God heard Manoah's prayer, and the angel of God came again to the woman while she was out in the field, but her husband Manoah was not with her. The woman hurried to tell her husband, 'He's here, the man who appeared to me the other day.' Manoah got up and followed his wife. When he came to the man, he asked him, 'Are you the man who spoke to this woman?' 'I am,' he said. So Manoah said, 'When your words come true, what is to be the child's manner of life and his mission?' The angel of the Lord answered, 'The woman must do all that I have told her. She must not eat anything that comes from the grapevine, nor drink any wine or other fermented drink, nor eat anything unclean. She must do everything I have commanded her.' Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, 'We would like you to stay until we prepare a young goat for you.' The angel of the Lord replied, 'Even though you detain me, I will not eat any of your food. But if you want to prepare a burnt offering, offer it to the Lord.' Manoah did not realize that it was the angel of the Lord. Then Manoah inquired of the angel of the Lord, 'What is your name? So that with honor we may present a gift to you when your words come true.' He replied, 'Why do you ask my name? It is beyond understanding.' Then Manoah took a young goat and a grain offering and offered them on a rock to the Lord. And the Lord did an amazing thing while Manoah and his wife watched. As the flame blazed up from the altar toward heaven, the angel of the Lord ascended in the flame. In awe, Manoah and his wife fell face down on the ground. When the angel of the Lord did not appear again to Manoah and his wife, Manoah realized that it was the angel of the Lord. Then Manoah said to his wife, "We are doomed to die. We have seen God." But his wife answered him, "If the Lord had meant to kill us, he would not have accepted a burnt offering and grain offering from our hands, nor shown us all these things or now told us this." The woman gave birth to a boy and named him Samson. He grew, and the Lord blessed him. The Spirit of the Lord began to stir him while he was in Mahanadan, between Zorah and Eshtaol. Samson went down to Timnah and saw there a young Philistine woman. When he returned, he said to his father and mother, "I have seen a Philistine woman in Timnah. Now get her for me as my wife." His father and mother replied, "Isn't there an acceptable woman among your relatives or among all our people? Must you go to the uncircumcised Philistines to get a wife?" But Samson said to his father, "Get her for me. She's the right one for me." His parents did not know that this was from the Lord, who was seeking an occasion to confront the Philistines, for at that time the Philistines were ruling over Israel. Samson went down to Timnah with his father and mother. As they approached the vineyards of Timnah, suddenly a young lion came roaring toward him. The Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him, so that he tore the lion apart with his bare hands as he might have torn a young goat. But he told neither his father nor his mother what he had done. Then he went down and talked with the woman, and she pleased Samson. Some time later, when he went back to marry her, he turned aside to look at the lion's carcass. In it was a swarm of bees and some honey. He scooped out the honey with his hands and ate as he went along. When he rejoined his parents, he gave them some, and they too ate it. But he did not tell them that he had taken the honey from the lion's carcass. Now his father went down to see the woman, and there Samson held a feast, as was customary for bridegrooms. When the people saw him, they chose 30 men to be his companions. "Let me tell you a riddle," Samson said to them. "If you can give me the answer within the 7 days of the feast, I will give you 30 linen garments and 30 sets of clothes. If you cannot tell me the answer, you must give me 30 linen garments and 30 sets of clothes." "Tell us your riddle," they said. "Let's hear it." He replied, "Out of the eater, something to eat out of the strong, something sweet." For 3 days they could not give the answer. On the 4th day, they said to Samson's wife, "Coax your husband into telling us the riddle, or we will burn you and your father's household to death. Did you invite us here to steal our possessions?" Then Samson's wife threw herself on him weeping and said, "You hate me. You don't really love me. You've given my people a riddle, but you haven't told me the answer. I haven't even told my father or mother," he said. "So why should I tell you?" She kept him company throughout the 7 days of the feast. But on the 7th day, because she tormented him continually, he told her the answer, and she in turn explained the riddle to her people. Before sunset on the 7th day, the men of the town came to him and said, "What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion?" Samson replied, "If you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have solved my riddle." Then the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him. He went down to Ashkelon, struck down 30 of their men, stripped them of their belongings, and gave their clothes to those who had explained the riddle. Burning with anger, he went up to his father's home, and Samson's wife was given to one of his companions who had been his best man. Later, during wheat harvest, Samson took a young goat and went to visit his wife. He said, "I'm going to my wife's room." But her father would not let him go in. "I was so sure you hated her," he said, "that I gave her to your companion. Isn't her younger sister more attractive? Take her instead." Samson said to them, "This time I have a right to get even with the Philistines. I will do them real damage." So he went out and caught 300 foxes and tied them tail to tail in pairs. He then fastened a torch to every pair of tails, lit the torches, and let the foxes loose in the standing corn of the Philistines. He burned up the shocks and standing corn, together with the vineyards and olive groves. When the Philistines asked, "Who did this?" they were told, "Samson, the Timnite's son-in-law, because his wife was given to his companion." So the Philistines went up and burned her and her father to death. Samson said to them, "Since you've acted like this, I won't stop until I get my revenge on you." He attacked them viciously and slaughtered many of them. Then he went down and stayed in a cave in the rock of Etam. The Philistines went up and camped in Judah, spreading out near Lehi. The men of Judah asked, "Why have you come up to fight us?" "We have come to take Samson prisoner," they answered, "to do to him what he did to us." Then 3,000 men from Judah went down to the cave in the rock of Etam and said to Samson, "Don't you realize that the Philistines are rulers over us? What have you done to us?" He answered, "I merely did to them what they did to me." They said to him, "We've come to tie you up and hand you over to the Philistines." Samson said, "Swear to me that you won't kill me yourselves." "Agreed," they answered. "We will only tie you up and hand you over to them. We will not kill you." So they bound him with 2 new ropes and led him up from the rock. As he approached Lehi, the Philistines came shouting to meet him. Then the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him. The ropes on his arms became like charred flax, and the bindings dropped from his hands. Finding a fresh jawbone of a donkey, he grabbed it and struck down 1,000 men. Then Samson said, "With a donkey's jawbone I have made donkeys of them. With a donkey's jawbone I have killed 1,000 men." When he finished speaking, he threw away the jawbone and called that place Ramath Lehi. Because he was very thirsty, he cried out to the Lord, "You have given your servant this great victory. Must I now die of thirst and fall into the hands of these uncircumcised Philistines?" Then God opened up the hollow place in Lehi, and water came out of it. When Samson drank, his strength returned and he revived. So the spring was called En-Hakkore, and it is still there in Lehi. Samson led Israel for 20 years in the days of the Philistines. Tonight we read Judges chapters 11 through 15 together. Jephthah's heartbreaking vow and Samson's amazing strength. Tearing a lion with bare hands and defeating 1,000 men with a donkey's jawbone. God sometimes works in ways we don't understand, but ultimately He saves His people. Even in our weakness, God's power is revealed. You've done so well today. Rest peacefully now. Sleep well, sweet dreams.
walked a road built from broken promises and whispered fears. I spoke brave words, yet my heart was trembling inside. I tried to bargain with heaven when I should have trusted love. Still you listened when my voice was small and unsure. I carried vows heavier than my own strength could bear. Choices made in fire, not knowing the cost ahead. Even when regret followed every step I took, you stay closer than my shadow in the dust. You see the ending before the battle begins. You know my weakness, and still you call my name. When love still calls me in my darkest hour, I hear your mercy louder than my fear. You never turn away from fragile hearts. God, you have always loved me. I fell against strong hands tied by desire, blinded by the things I could not release. Yet even then your purpose did not fade. You turned my failure into part of your plan. Not by my power, not by my prayer, patient and faithful love. When love still calls me through every fall, I rise again because you hold my soul from beginning to end. Your voice remains. God, you have always loved me.
I said I was ready, but my hands were shaking. I promised more than my heart could carry.
In the silence after my own decisions, you waited without turning away.
I thought strength meant standing alone. I learned too late how easily I fall.
Yet even when my faith was divided, your love remained whole.
You never asked me to be perfect. You asked me to trust your heart. I am held beyond my strength, carried by grace I did not earn. Every tear, every silent prayer, you have counted. better judgment.
And I traded peace for passing comfort.
You did not leave me in the dark. You walked with me through
The consequence.
even broken vows cannot break your love. Even my weakness cannot erase your call.
I am held beyond my strength, resting in mercy deeper than shame. From the first of breath to the final song, God, you have always loved me. I walked a road built from broken promises and whispered fears. I spoke brave words, yet my heart was trembling inside. I tried to bargain with heaven when I should have trusted love. Still you listened when my voice was small and unsure. I carried vows heavier than my own strength could bear. Choices made in fire, not knowing the cost ahead. Even when regret followed every step I took, you stayed closer than my shadow in the dust. You see the ending before the battle begins. You know my weakness, and still you call my name. When love still calls me in my darkest hour, I hear your mercy louder than my fear. You never turn away from fragile hearts. God, you have always loved me. I fell again, strong hands tied by desire, blinded by the things I could not release. Yet even then your purpose did not fade. You turned my failure into part of your plan. Not by my power, not by my pride, but by your patient and faithful love. When love still calls me through every fall, I rise again because you hold my soul. From beginning to end, your voice remains. God, you have always loved me.
I said I was ready, but my hands were shaking. I promised more than my heart could carry. In the silence, after my own decisions, you waited without turning away.
I thought strength meant standing alone. I learned too late how easily I fall. Yet even when my faith was divided, your love remained whole.
You never asked me to be perfect. You asked me to trust your heart. I am held beyond my strength, carried by grace I did not earn. Every tear, every silent prayer, you have counted them all. When desire blinded my better judgment,
And I traded peace for past